Ho, ho, holy cow. The Bucs are 7-7, leading the division. It's all a happy new year. Merry Christmas. Best of seasons yet. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing great. You got to fire Coach Bowles and you got to get rid of Baker Mayfield.
Those days are gone. Hey, guys, welcome to another great night of Bucs Live. We're going to have a good time here tonight. Got all kinds of good football, good Bucs stuff to talk about, and it is the merriest of seasons right here on Bucs Live.
Get ready. It's time for Bucs Live.
Bucs Live.
Bucs Live.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers talk with Rick Hughes and David Whitecarver.
This is
Bucs Live.
Let's Go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Oh, this is going to be fun. It's going to be a good night, isn't it, Dave?
Yes, it is. It's always fun after a win and putting up 34 in Lambeau.
There's been a lot of these fun days lately. Hey, I want to say first, I'm glad tonight we are on 102.9 FM, The Game, Broad Street South Radio. We are on Bucs Report. We are on Sports Talk Florida. We are on all of the Bucs Live platforms on YouTube, on Facebook, on the Twitter machine or X or whatever the heck it's called.
It's X.
And pretty soon, maybe even Instagram. We shall see. So we are all over the place, guys. I was going to say it's been a good week, but it's been a good month. There's a lot to be happy about, a lot to be excited about. The team is they're playing their best football now in December.
And who was missing on defense? Just an observation.
Nobody was missing, but Devin White wasn't there. And Dave will be getting into that in a little bit.
Oh, my foot hurts.
Yeah, Dave's going to be getting into that in a little bit.
My ego's bruised. My foot hurts.
There's so much good stuff to talk about. And that's the fun part of this is there's so much. I mean, the division things are looking great. The conference things are looking great. Well, we will get into that.
The Panthers have won 2 games. Who have they beaten?
Both times, the Falcons. That's
right.
Thank you, Carolina Panthers. Wow. Thank you, Carolina Panthers. It's been there's so much to cover. We've got a lot to cover. Man, you had a great vacation up here in North Kakalaki. From
yes, we were in the Blue Ridge Mountains, detached from it all.
Nice,
having a great time.
Very nice.
Birthday, anniversary. I had family coming from Indy, Chicago, and Columbus, all to come join us.
I didn't even get an invite. I mean, hey.
You want to come next time?
Yeah, sure. I'll make it happen.
The house,
I'll at least make a stop by. No, at least make a flyby. I don't know that I'll stay, but I'll make a flyby and say
we were in the.
I've had your wife's cooking. Of course, I'll go.
Oh yeah, I'm the gopher. I go get whatever she needs from the grocery to make her magic.
Well, she does a brilliant job of it. So, yeah, I've had your wife's cooking, and yeah, she knows what she's doing. So
I get out of the way.
We have a lot to talk about. But let's go ahead and get into some of this. I'm going to start bringing up some graphics. We're not going to do a normal meme grinder. We're going to do a little bit of a different kind of a meme grinder. They're not really memes. They're sort of memes. They're more just graphics. but they apply. So let's get into it. Okay, let's start here. Now, we've all heard this. Baker Mayfield is the first visiting quarterback to ever post a perfect passer rating at Lambeau Field. First quarterback, period, in December. Yet still, people will say Green Bay's defense was terrible. They were missing pieces. Baker is still Baker. This guy gets very little credit when he deserves a ton. He's out there winning games and leading a division and making less than backup quarterbacks in this league. That's from Aaron Jacobson on the Pat and Aaron show on WDAE, and I agree with him completely. The guy does not get the credit that he deserves. Your thoughts on Baker, Dave?
I let the facts speak for themselves. There's been two quarterbacks since they've had the current quarterback rating system that started in 1973. There's been two quarterbacks that have a perfect passer rating at Lambeau Field in a single game. One is Aaron Rodgers, and the other is Baker Mayfield. Those are the facts.
Yeah, and it's just it's amazing. He just continually. Here's another graphic. Some quarterbacks that Baker Mayfield has a higher passer rating than this over the season. This season, entering week 15, Baker has a 94.7 passer rating. Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, and that Mahomes guy are all behind him in passer rating. But yet, people
That's a
keep
pretty
saying,
good list of quarterbacks, I'd say.
yeah, and people are saying, oh, he's missing his open receivers. Well, okay. There's a lot of drops. There's a lot of that stuff going on. I agree with all of that. I mean, there have been wide open receivers that he has not thrown the ball to. I agree with that. But this team is 7-7. What was the record last year, Dave?
The record was with that Brady guy at quarterback. They were 6-8.
Yeah, they were 6-8 with Tom Brady at quarterback last year. They're 7-7 this year.
He had a pretty fair career.
They've got $75 million in dead cap space this year, and they improved. 1/3. They lost 1/3 of their cap. 1/3 of the salary cap, less than everybody else, and they've improved. And people, are calling for Todd Bowles' head.
Get rid of Baker at halftime.
Yeah, I just do not understand it. I just don't understand it. By the way, I want to say hello to, let's see here, Sananto Gato, saying, ain't wrong on that assessment, talking, I believe, about Aaron Jacobson or Dave. I don't know who he's talking about, but only Aaron did it, and Aaron only did it once. How about that? Great point, Sananto Gato. That's actually a great point. Aaron Rodgers played how many games at Lambeau? And Baker Mayfield just
a lot.
Yeah, and Baker just did it. So, I'm yeah, that's pretty amazing. So, I mean, guys, there's so many graphics to point out. Remember the beginning of this season? Remember before this year started, the predictions for the NFC South? Remember this? I remember saying I don't know how they think New Orleans is as good. Atlanta, I didn't know what to expect. I did not think Carolina was going to do well.
If Desmond Ritter's your starting quarterback, I didn't think things were going to end well.
Right. And Baker is an unknown, but there's no way I thought 4-13 or 3-14. There's no way I was thinking the Bucs were battling for the number 1 pick overall. I just didn't believe that. And, they're sitting here now, like, I mean, they're look, we'll get into the standings in a little bit, but the Bucs are 3-0 this December, averaging 28 points a game on offense. In that span, Tampa has won on the road twice, including then NFC South leading Atlanta Falcons and a tough trip at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. Playoff odds are now up over 70%. And let me give you this correctly because one of our listeners actually, well, Dave, talk for a second because I got to find this out. But one of our listeners actually came through with the statistic or with the exact numbers um, on the playoffs. But you know what? Let's do this, Dave. Well, nah, let's not get to your don't be a baby yet because we're in the middle of meme grinder. But um, I mean, Dave, playoff odds are over 70%. What in the world? What happened?
And they go up astronomically when they, if you want to take that positive glasses half full approach, when you want to say when they beat the Saints in Tampa, then they're basically in. Going
Yeah.
through the schedule with the New Orleans and Tampa, Tampa, I think, very easily could win out. Where the Saints have to travel to LA to play the Rams that are playing pretty good football
On a short week, by the
on a
way, on
short
Thursday
week.
night. Yeah.
So it could conceivably where even if the Saints beat the Bucs and Tampa, which could happen, let's face it. But if that happens, if the Bucs win the other two and the Saints, that's their only win to close out the season, then conceivably the Bucs could lose that game and still make the playoffs. But pretty much, if they win that game, they're in,
Well,
regardless of what happens this week.
last year the Bucs had won the division with a week left. And basically, the Falcons game was a wasted game, and they didn't really put anything in, and that's how they ended up at 8-9. That could conceivably happen again this year here in Charlotte, which I expect to be at that game. It may mean nothing, and I hope that's the case. By the way, it was Fred Swayze Moore who comments here on our show a lot. He said the Buccaneers win, pushed their chances of making the playoffs up to, you ready? 78%. And winning the NFC South, right now, the odds are 67% that the Bucs will win the South. Their odds of winning the division jumped 21% from the previous week, the largest jump in the NFL. So, listen, they're playing their best football, and everybody else is cooperating by losing that we need to lose. I mean, it's been good. But for everybody says, I don't want to sneak into the playoffs with a losing record. Well, it doesn't look like you're going to have to. It doesn't look like you're going to have to.
You're playing your hated rival at home with basically the division on the line. What more could you want?
And I keep hearing all this stuff about the Bucs being, now I'm hearing all over national media. I'm hearing, well, they could maybe win a game. They could maybe win a game in the playoffs. And I'm thinking, yeah, no joke. This is what we've been saying all along. And guys, this is why you stick with the plan. This is why you don't get rid of your head coach and you don't go to your backup quarterback in September and October, because what matters
this is pretty
how you're
good for
playing
a
in
down
December.
year. This is a down year, let's face it. This is pretty good for a down year.
Yeah, this is a rebuilding year, and we're improving.
You got a 70+% chance of making the playoffs.
78%.
You're going into week 16. This is
Yeah.
a down year. Okay.
Yeah, I hope it stays this bad. Hope we can beat this bad next year. Here you go. Here's another one. Tom Brady. This is last year. Tom Brady's end of season stats, and where Baker is at right now. Well, what do you know? Look who's having the better year.
Well, there's a stat that's not up there that's very important.
What's that?
Desire and ability to take a hit. And I would decidedly put that in the side of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Well, we've had the discussion before with Tom Brady. He's not the last quarterback who stayed around one season too many.
Well, he didn't physically stay around one season too many.
He
Mentally, he was done.
A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, mentally, he was done. He just didn't really want to play anymore. And, I mean, there's a lot of, I had a great conversation this week with Blake Anthony, Blake Anthony talked to me about how it's not, he basically gave me behind the scenes stuff on You really want to know what happened with Bruce Arians? Is Tom and Bruce didn't get along, and the franchise basically said, "Tom, whatever you want, whatever you want." And Tom said, "You want me to come back? I don't want Bruce." And Bruce said, "Okay, I'm out. Here you go," and gave the reins over to Todd Bowles.
Well, yeah, but he wanted to set his guy up in a good
which is
place,
which
in a
is
good
a
situation.
fact, which is a fact. And I think Arians was teetering on leaving or not leaving anyway. And I think it was Tom basically said, "I'm not coming back with Bruce Arians." Apparently, Tom was tired of getting yelled at all the time and getting just berated and beaten down. And he's, you know what? I've been in this league how long now, and I don't want to do this anymore. And
I guess he needs an upbeat, positive coach like Belichick, huh?
well, he left there. Okay, he left there because he was tired
after
of
20 seasons,
but he was tired of it.
Oh,
He'd
okay.
had enough of it, and
Should have gone play for Pete Carroll, the
Oh.
Energizer Bunny at over plus 70.
Yeah, but I mean, and assuming that's the case, so that's how it all went down. By the way, hello, Christopher Cole. I see you out there. If that's how it all went down, which is not far from what we guessed, Dave. Okay, now you've got Todd Bowles handed the reins of a team, one hand tied behind his back the first year. This year, two hands tied behind his back, and he's got a coach with the entire, with the 75 million, one third of your entire cap is dead.
But that Lombardi looks really good after you shine it up.
Oh, and let me tell you
It
something.
sparkles.
I'll do it. I would do it again tomorrow. So, if they said you got to go 10 years between them, 15 years between them, sign me up.
Yeah, how do the Cowboys fans feel about that, huh?
Right. I mean, man. But I don't know. I mean, after 1 year of Todd Bowles, everybody's wanting to fire him, and I don't know. And there's a whole element. Someday maybe I'll have the guts to get into it on the show. I don't have the guts to get into it, but there's a whole element on the people who wanted Jameis versus the people who wanted Brady or not Jameis at the time. And there's a whole element to the people who like Bowles, regardless of what happens, and don't like Baker regardless. There's a whole element that goes back with this team all the way back to Doug Williams. There is an element in the Tampa area. There is a way of thinking in the Tampa area that's maybe a little behind the times, and people are a little slow to get on board. But it's a fact that this team is, this team is progressive in their thinking, in their hiring, and in the way that they've approached things, and it has paid off. They have 2 Super Bowls. Dave, like you always like to say, there are 2 teams that have been to multiple Super Bowls
that are undefeated. Only 2.
And who are they?
The Baltimore Ravens are 2-0, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 2-0. Anybody else who's played in more than 1 Super Bowl ain't got a perfect record.
Right. So, I mean, it's hard to argue with the success. Would I give up 15? Would I go another 15 years for another Super Bowl? I don't want to. I don't want to go another 15 years, but would I do it? Yeah. I mean, the history says it's worth it. Okay. Let's go over the last. Listen, guys, July 2022. This is last July. Okay? This is last July. This is everything I'm about to read to you has happened long since Todd Bowles has been the head coach of this franchise. The Browns trade Mayfield to the Panthers. In December of 2022, the Panthers release Mayfield. The Rams claim him. March 2023, Mayfield becomes a free agent and signs with the Bucs. December 2023, Mayfield has a 24 pass TD 8 or 24 passing TDs, 8 interceptions for first place Bucs. All of that has happened since July of last year. It's not even a year and a half. All of that has happened. Um, it's amazing. Let's look at the playoff picture overall. Right now, if the playoffs were to start today, San Francisco would get a bye. So would Baltimore in the AFC. The 4 and 5 seed would be we would play the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoffs. Sound
The
familiar?
red hot Philadelphia Eagles.
Or maybe not. Does that sound familiar? The Eagles and the Bucs in the playoffs. It's just funny to me. I mean, I was at the first Bucs playoff game ever. I sat there, top row of the stadium, and in at the corner of one of the end zones, very top row in the big sombrero, and watched the Bucs and Eagles play the Buccaneers' very first playoff.
Three words come to mind.
What's that?
Barber pick six.
Yet another wonderful Bucs Philadelphia playoff moment. And it's getting to the point. Listen, everybody who was saying to me, I don't want the Bucs to go to the playoffs and get blown out again. You think that's what's going to happen now? You want let's get rid of Bulls because, well, I don't want to go through this again and get embarrassed in the playoffs. All of a sudden, you're looking at the Eagles and going, maybe we can beat them. I think maybe we can beat them. Listen, thump your chest. Thump your chest, Bucs fans. Now is a really good time. Now's a really good time. But remember this, when you hit a rough patch next year and you say good teams don't lose 3-4 in a row. Good teams don't lose 3 or 4 in a row. That's why I wanted to get rid of Bulls. Really? Who's the best team in the NFC, Dave?
I think I've said all along this season that it's the San Francisco 49ers.
Who lost 3 in a row earlier this year?
I believe it was the San Francisco 49ers.
Good teams go through tough times. And when you hit a rough patch, you don't automatically fire the coach. Let's not be angry about it. Let's not be upset about it. Let's be willing to admit that we were wrong. It's okay to be wrong. I know it's hard to admit when you're wrong. You told me we should fire Bowles.
You told me it was the right thing to do. Look, I know what I told you to do, but when I told you to do that, I was Ralph, I was not exactly right. What do you
Okay, I know it's hard to admit. But let's look at this team and for all of you who are that angry with Bowles and wanted to get rid of Bowles
and Baker. Let's see what Trask can do. Let's put Trask in there.
Right. Because it can't get any worse.
Yeah, we need to see what we have in Trask.
Yeah, or we could sit tight, stick with the game plan, ride it out, stick with the plan. And this is what happens, Bucs fans. So let's just think about this in years coming, okay? Don't worry about it now. So you were wrong. Who cares? All right? Let's think about this in the years ahead. Next year, when Todd Bowles is probably still head coach, and the team loses a couple games in a row, which happens, even San Francisco this year, 3 games in a row. When you lose a little bit, don't automatically say, fire the coach, replace the coach, we need a new quarterback. Sometimes stick with the plan.
Well, we gave probably at the time the Bucs too much credit and thought, now looking back for a few weeks, we were saying, oh, that Saints game in New Orleans, that was maybe peak Bucs, but perhaps that was just a prequel to a team that was going to gel and take a couple months getting there. So be it. It's not how you start, it's how you finish in the NFL.
Right. Who's playing good in December? That's kind of what matters. I mean, remember those Giants teams backing into the playoffs and sneaking into the playoffs and then winning the Super Bowl? I mean, guys, this would not be the craziest thing that's ever happened. It really is not. By the way, hello to Antonio Santiago III. Christopher Cole, you are correct. NFC teams are very beatable. And
Unless it's the Niners.
well, but they did. Again, this is a team who plays very aggressive football, and there's 3 weeks left.
And they're
And-
peaking at the right time.
And if they end up with injuries between now and the end of the season, which always seems to happen with the Niners, I don't
There's
know.
31 teams, then there's Carolina that are kind of in the same boat if they're.
It was a couple
if they
weeks
get
ago.
injuries, but-
What, 3 weeks ago, everybody was saying Philadelphia.
Oops.
Yeah, that's done. You know, I mean that
They may not even win their division.
right.
Right
I
now,
know.
if the season ended today, Cowboys are your NFC East champs.
Right. And 3 weeks ago, Philly was unbeatable. So I don't know. Got 2 more graphics I want to cover. I want to cover this. I love this statistic. I think this was from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on CBS. Today in graphics, you wouldn't have expected to see at the start of the year. Week 15 passing leaders. Baker Mayfield, 381 yards. Joe Flacco, 374 yards. Oh my gosh. And can you
Credit Joe Flacco. I wouldn't have expected to see him on any roster unless it was the USFX.
Well, I don't know. I
thing.
mean, he's a Super Bowl quarterback. I believe he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
But that was that was a minute or 5, 6, 7, 10 ago. I mean,
but that's
it's
a
been
guy
while.
that everybody, I think, you've got to be in the right system. Baker Mayfield's a great example of that. You have to be in the right system with the right players at the right time. When's Joe Flacco been on a good team starting since then? I mean, it hasn't happened. They went through after the Super Bowl. They went through their rebuild. Ray Lewis retired, all the stuff. You know, I mean, they went through a lot of that. So, and they weren't some massive, unbelievable offense. I mean, it was their defense that kind of won it all, just like it was with Brady many times in New England. So I don't know. But this is the bottom line that I want to get to. The final graphic I really want to get to is, guys, this is the NFC. The Bucs are the 5th ranked team in the NFC. So even if they, you know how everybody talks about they shouldn't do if you're a division winner, you shouldn't automatically, be one of the top 4 seeds. Even if not, they'd still be playing Philadelphia. Because, okay, it's just now the game is going to be in Tampa because they won their division. That's really the only difference. So for everybody ripping the Bucs and saying they're so bad and Todd Bowles is so bad in a rebuilding year with a $4 million quarterback, journeyman quarterback, they're 5th in the conference.
Well, that's an example of Baker Mayfield not getting the respect he deserves. Since the Cleveland Browns were remade after Baltimore, the original Browns franchise went to Baltimore, the only quarterback who has won a playoff game is Baker Mayfield. So it's not like he hasn't seen success in the postseason, but he doesn't get credit for that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, we'll be back in just a moment, and we'll let Dave tell us all about who's a baby. All right, Dave.
Okay, welcome to the Merry Christmas version of Don't Be a Baby. Again, we stay with the low-hanging fruit, and let's just go ahead and pick the obvious. The big baby of the week is Devin White. You could probably call it for the whole season. I could go into the details, but it's hard to even figure out exactly what happened. The bottom line is he was told he wasn't going to start. All of a sudden, his foot hurts. He's not going to play. It's more like his ego got bruised more than anything. That's not what a leader does. That's not what a team player does. If he was more focused on how he was going to knock the stuffing out of the Packers, the Bucs would have been in a much better situation. However, the team rallied. The defense came through. And you got Devin White being a baby sitting along the side on the sideline, not even there, which he didn't deserve to be. if I recall properly, he was calling for a $100 million 5-year contract in the offseason. Let's give credit to the Bucs front office for not giving it to this big baby who can't get out there and play against the Packers. If I'm not starting, I'm not a rotational guy. Oh my gosh. Oh, you hurt my feelings. I'm not going to go out and play. You disrespected me. Who's doing the disrespecting? It's you, Devin White. Quit being a baby. Get back out there, play ball, and earn the right to be a primary starter that doesn't have to rotate out. But you can't handle it. You're acting like a baby, so stop it.
Well,
Merry Christmas.
He was so excited about it. I didn't even get to play the intro, and I refused to miss watching Dave's face on these babies.
Come on, say the hip hop, the hip to the hip hip, hop it, you don't stop, the rock it to the bang bang, boogie say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the.
All right.
How are you feeling right now if you're Devin White's agent, huh? We want $100 million for 5 years. Now look where you're at.
So he puts a cryptic, weird X message or Instagram message or whatever it was out today saying, you know what motivates me? Disrespect. And what I don't know, because all year he's been getting disrespected by the media on his play and it hasn't motivated him. So I'm not sure that really motivates
Well,
him.
I think his tackling's been disrespectful, quite frankly.
His tackling has been disrespectful. He can't cover the pass for anything. Maybe he's a good edge rusher, but he's not really anything else at this point. And maybe he needs to go to another team where he can go ahead and be, a Shaq Barrett type. But, if he practices all week and Todd Bowles thinks he's healthy, they've cleared him, and then all of a sudden he can't play, something's wrong.
I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't step on the field in a Buccaneer uniform the rest of the year.
I don't think he will. As a matter of fact, my prediction is tomorrow the Buccaneers will put him on injured reserve, ending his season. That's my guess.
It's more like because his ego's been busted more than anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Look in the mirror.
Hey,
quit being a baby.
What'd you have for dinner?
What did I have for dinner?
Yeah.
It's what I'm going to have for dinner. There's leftover lasagna.
Oh, that's a very good thing. I actually had that
Yes,
yesterday. I had lasagna yesterday.
My wife's homemade lasagna.
And mine was my homemade lasagna.
Which is fabulous too.
Okay. Let's talk about what's cooking in the South. Okay, what's cooking in the South, in the NFC South, is the Falcons are done. They really are a holiday bird. They're done. They're roasted. They're just done.
They've been plucked. Get it?
Have been by the Panthers. The cats did what they do to birds. The Falcons lost twice. Think about that. The Falcons lost twice to the Panthers.
Panthers only 2 wins up to this point.
Wow. Boy, are they grateful here in Charlotte for Atlanta. So basically the only thing is the Saints. It comes down to the Saints, and really the Saints, I fully expect we will know who the division winner is by the time that game ends. But the Bucs Saints game in week 16 or 17, sorry. I fully expect that the final game of the season, the Bucs at the Panthers, won't mean anything. That's my best guess. I think the Bucs are going to win the division. I think, and Vegas agrees. I think
3 in a row, never before done.
Yeah. So that's pretty exciting. what else is what's cooking in the South? Let's talk about the 3 best fast food burgers anywhere, according to my fat self. Okay. So, what do I think are
Been
the
doing
3
some
best?
research lately, huh?
Yes, I've been doing a lot of research over the years. I've been preparing for this my whole life. Listen, now we're just talking fast food burgers, okay? Because you can get better burgers at places that are not fast food, and I get that, okay? But we are talking fast food. So, according to my fat self, the 3 best burgers, number 3, bit of a surprise, number 3 is Hardee's. Hardee's has a great burger. Man, when they came out with I think they called it the $6 burger, which didn't cost $6, but they decided they were going to redo their whole burger menu, and they make them fresh once you're there. They're not heated and waiting in a little drawer where
Under a
they,
light,
right, where
kept
they pull the
warm.
patty out of a drawer and then assemble it when you get there. No, they make the whole thing when you get there. So I think Hardee's burgers are fantastic, and you can get a lettuce wrap on your burgers if you want to low carb it. But I think they do a really, really good job. Now, this is another fast food chain, and it's not everywhere, Dave. I don't believe it's in Orlando, but it is a chain. It's called Habit Burger. Habit Burger is freaking
Never heard of it till
okay.
just now.
Okay,
But I'm paying attention.
okay, it is shockingly good. It is really, really good. It's not number 1 good. Number 1, I know you can get in Tampa. Number 1, I know you can get in Orlando. Number 1, I know you can get in Charlotte and pretty much everywhere now. And when I say this burger is, I don't know what they do with the meat. I don't know how they do this. There's something that first time I ate the burger here, I was like, what magical, what did they do? What
What
crack,
concoction was put
what
in here? Is
crack?
it legal?
Yes, because it is stupid good. And that's Shake Shack. Shake Shack burgers are phenomenal. Shake Shack burgers are phenomenal. Have you ever had one, Dave?
I have not, but you have
Oh,
piqued my interest.
how have you not? Now I want to give an honorable mention.
I'll tell you how. That's my wife makes the best burgers. That's how.
Well, I've had your wife's burgers. Well, she made them, you grilled them.
Well,
They were great burgers.
I take very little credit
They were
for
very good.
what happens in our kitchen around here.
But I want to give an honorable mention to Whataburger, which I love. Really almost made the list. I was debating that last one. I really was. And I want to give an honorable mention to something that I didn't put on the list because it's different and not like the other burgers or anything, but Crystal or White Castle. I could eat like 20 of these things without, just slamming those sliders, and I love them.
You got the windows of your car open for weeks. Is that
Yes. If you have the bag of a Crystal burger in your car, even if you like immediately after you eat, you throw it out for like 3 days, you still smell it. Now, I can tell you, my very first job was working for Crystal, and it's literally just steamed burgers. That's how they make it. They are steamed. It's real ground beef. I don't know why the smell thing happens, but it
it's
does.
those onions they put on there.
That's possible.
There's a chemical reaction going on.
That is possible. That is possible. So I don't know. Listen. I'm just trying to help people, San Antonio. I'm just trying to help people. Just in case you're low carbonate, I do that sometimes. I low carb it sometimes.
On occasion.
Yeah, and when that happens, it's a great burger. It really is. What they do is they just wrap it in lettuce. There's no bun, and whatever. But yeah. Whoa. Shake Shack burgers are mediocre at best, at least here in Texas. No, and listen, in Texas, I gave credit Whataburger. But no, for fast food, no, they're not mediocre. You were doing so good, Santo Gato. You were doing so good. I just, I don't know.
Well, he's got a recommendation too.
Yes, he does. He says,
A very compelling one at that.
but Bubba's 33 burgers are like a spiritual experience. Well, I'm open to spiritual experiences like that. So yeah, and I do want to say this in the most overrated burgers, I don't understand why everybody loves In-N-Out burgers. I've had them multiple times in LA and Vegas, whatever. I just don't get it. To me, they're like a bad version of Five Guys, and I don't like Five Guys. I mean, I just I don't know. Five Guys is okay, but everybody who just flips out over it, I don't get it. The one thing that is great about Five Guys is you can go to them and say, "I want a burger, triple bacon," and they don't charge you extra for toppings. You can get triple bacon on your burger, and it doesn't cost any extra. But I don't know. Here we go. Why one of the wise men steps in here this Christmas season. Christopher Oxentine says, "I love Shake Shack enough that I bought stock when they went public." There's a man who knows what he's talking about. Feel like doing a John Madden. Boom! There he comes in with the comment.
The battle of the burgers. Let it commence.
Yeah. And yes, San Antogato, yes, yuck for In-N-Out. I just don't
Here,
understand.
here.
I
We are
just
in
don't-
agreement of sorts.
Yeah, I just don't understand it. Okay, Christopher says the Bucs should not release White and let some other team pick him up like the Saints. I don't think they're going to release him, Christopher. I think they're going to put him on injured reserve. For that exact reason. I think they'll put him on IR, tuck him away till the end of the season, and then he's done. I don't think you'll ever see
Will he
him.
be the first Buck to be put on IR for a bad attitude?
No. And this is funny you say that because I brought up the parallel to this about the same time of year, a little bit later, but it's about the time AB had his meltdown. And, it's the same kind of thing. And this is what I like. I'm going to give Todd Bowles a compliment. So everybody who hates him, I'm sorry. But unlike Bruce Arians, Todd Bowles got in front of this situation. And last week had him, told him basically you're not going to start. And then all of a sudden his foot hurt again or something. We're not really sure what happened. They weren't real clear, but I don't know. I mean, Christopher, they cut Keyshawn Vaughn and New England picked him up. They cut Keyshawn Vaughn. They're not going to cut Devin White. I think they're just going to keep him on IR for the rest of the year.
So his foot can heal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's his butthole injury that he's
Be a baby.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I'm not going to put that comment up here, but you're absolutely right, San Gato. You are absolutely right. Anyway, yeah, so that's that. To me, guys, the important stuff that I think gets lost sometimes in all of this, we get all twisted. People get on board the I'm mad at Todd Bowles or I don't like Todd Bowles thing. And I genuinely, honestly think so much of it is because you don't want to be embarrassed on social media. You're afraid to say I'm a fan. I remember back in the day, Dave, back to Shenandoah Elementary, you and I running around in our creamsicle t-shirts or whatever, and we were still willing to say, that's my team. Yeah, I know we suck, but that's my team. I love them. That's my team. And when you lose,
26, we're just getting started.
Right. And when okay, so your team loses, you just say, yeah, we suck today. But I love them anyway. And it's okay. It's not a bad thing to admit it sometimes when you suck.
We suck today. I suck today. We suck today. It was awful.
I mean, if Baker can do it, so just be able to say, okay, my team sucked today, but I love my team. The quarterback didn't play well today, but I love my team. That's my quarterback this year. You don't have to be hedging your bets and protecting your social media ego. Sometimes it's okay. Just love your freaking team. And so I don't know. I don't know. I like this comment. The Bucs defense has holes, so Bowles has done a good job so far. I agree completely. My Green Bay Packers fellow worker was running his mouth last week. I can't wait to see him on Friday. Nice.
So they were 6-7, and he's running his mouth. That's an interesting concept.
Well, they had won a bunch in a row, and we're running our mouths right now. And that's how it works when you run off a string of victories. You start running your mouth. But again, it's not who's winning in November; it's who's winning in December and January.
And we got two of those Lombardis we have to keep polishing up.
That's right. How many does Green Bay have? I believe 3, right? And they've been around for how long?
For all his brilliance, I believe he won 1, and then they won the first 2 Super Bowls.
Yes, and Rodgers won 1. So they've got
4.
Okay. And they've been around how long? But since the Buccaneers...
Here, let me think about that.
Yeah.
4.
And so since the Buccaneers have come into existence... Since the Bucs have had any say in it, since the Bucs have come into existence, the Packers have 2 Super Bowls. And by the way, and I love this because Dave, the crap I caught from Dolphins fans growing up. Since the Buccaneers exist, how many Super Bowls do the Miami Dolphins have?
Winning, you mean?
Yeah.
Goose egg.
That's how many, buddy? 0. That's how.
But I'm glad you're no longer bitter.
I'm celebratory. Now I'm kind of okay if they go ahead and win one this year. I'm okay with that. But it's. I still remember the crap I caught. Hey, we were undefeated. We didn't exist then. We couldn't beat you then. So anyway, I don't know. But anyway, Dave, you have any, let's look forward to this week's game. We haven't even done that. And, you got anything you want to add? And,
well, the Jacksonville Jaguars have lost their last 3 games, 4 out of their last 6.
How'd you say that? Did you just call them the Jaguars?
Jaguars.
Okay. Yeah. I thought you said Jaguars. I was going to give you a hard time.
Well, I'm not pronouncing it Britishly. I'm just saying
No,
the Jacksonville Jaguars. Is that good?
That's
do I need to practice this?
Hey, remember
no,
but hold on.
Okay.
I give you crap about some other times.
All right. I'm just trying to make sure everything's okay.
I'm just picking on you.
All right. Jacksonville has lost their last 3 games and 4 out of their last 6, and what looked like a promising season is going the wrong direction.
Repeat that. You've been flying by it. Jacksonville
has lost 3 straight and 4 out of the last 6.
Before last week, I said if the Bucs can win one of the next 2 games, the division is theirs. They very well could win both. I don't even know who's favored in that game. I haven't even checked the line.
Trevor Lawrence, this could be a problem for the Jaguars, but Trevor Lawrence went into concussion protocol after the game, which brings into question is why didn't they figure out he should have been in concussion protocol like during the game? We'll see if the NFL sticks their nose and does a little investigation regarding that. But
if he doesn't have symptoms, you can't.
Well,
what do you want him to say? I mean,
they're quick to the draw, and I understand why. But so Jacksonville doesn't come in exactly on a roll. In fact, the opposite. They're definitely trending down. So if Baker puts enough points on the board and the defense can hang in there against a team that may not have its starting quarterback, I like the Bucs' chances.
Who
And
do you
even
think's favored
well, if it's the
right
initial
now? Vegas. Who do you
Vegas would probably give the Jaguars like a 2-3 point advantage.
think Bucs favored by 1?
Really?
Yes.
Wow, I guess they're putting more stock into the concussion. I don't know.
I'm
Hey, get on the Baker train. Everybody else
That's
is.
right. Come on. Join us. Come on. So yeah. And yes, Sam got to they may be without the Prince as well this weekend. Man, if we win this week, if everything goes like Vegas thinks it's gonna go, the Buccaneers will basically have the division wrapped up.
I mean,
After
Christian
this
Kirk
week.
is on IR and Zay Jones is questionable. It's not like and Trevor Lawrence is a concussion protocol. That's a good chunk of their offense.
Yep.
And the Bucs, are they getting hot to end the year from the offensive side of the ball? Is it starting to gel?
The offense is coming together. Everything 28 points a game in December. I mean, you're not going to lose a lot of games if you're scoring 28 points. It feels like they've opened up the playbook a little more. Rashad White at the beginning of the year, everybody, do you remember all the he's not a 3-down back, he's not the guy, we got to draft somebody because Rashad White's not the guy. Remember those days? Remember that earlier this year? What happens? You stick with the freaking plan and look at what has happened. Now everybody's like, Rashad White, he's probably the best thing on this offense. I mean, and by the way, remember a few years ago in the final game of the season, Tom Brady got Evans, Godwin, and AB all over the 1,000-yard mark. Evans is on his way to possibly the most yardage he's ever had in a season. Chris Godwin is, I think, 180 yards from 1,000 with 3 games left. And now all of a sudden, David Moore and all these other receivers are showing up. O'Keefe, who knew? I mean, there's all this stuff is starting to gel and starting to come together.
It takes some time to get used to a new quarterback. That's what I thought early on in the season. The Bucs weren't hitting on long balls, but now they're getting better.
Remember when Brady came in that first year and everybody's saying, oh, there are problems between him and Arians, and oh no, what are we going to do? And
they were being shut out in Atlanta, and it looked like the season was on the brink. And then they came roaring back and never looked back until they won that Lombardi.
Yeah. And boy, doesn't that season look like this year so far? Do you realize if the Bucs win their next 3 games, they will have closed the season on a 6-game winning streak?
Yeah, but they lost 3 earlier in the season. That should get a coach fired.
That's right. So if they win the next 3, what's their record, Dave?
It would be 10-7.
Who said that their record would be 10-7? I believe we both did. I believe we both said 10-7.
I hedged a little. I said 9 or 10, maybe 8.
Yeah. I said 10-7. So, I mean, it could happen. And, you stick with the plan. You let things come together. Listen, this is the deal about running. And how many times did you guys hear me say this on this show where I said, it's not always about the yards per carry. Remember all those? Oh, he only got 2 yards per carry, 1.5 yards per carry. And I said repeatedly, it's like a boxer. When you jab, you're not going to knock the guy out. You're not going to win the fight. Jab, 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 jab. And at the end, those things have added up. And that's what happens. If you look first half, Rashad White doesn't have great statistics. By the end of the game, he does. Why? Jab, jab, jab. You wear the defense down with that guy. Rashad White is, I believe he's the number 2 back with yards from scrimmage. He's number 2 in the league behind only Christian McCaffrey. That's pretty exciting, Dave.
Well, and also when we had that initial discussion, one Keyshawn Vaughn was on the active roster. Now he's not.
What does that have to do with this?
Well, it explains some of why the running back play has improved.
No, I'm talking Rashad White statistics.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, he was getting 1.5 yards on average per carry. He was getting 40 yards a game. You had to give it time. Now, look, by the way, before we go, last thing I want to mention, the offensive line. Massive props. Both Buccaneers tackles are young. Both Buccaneers tackles are Pro Bowl worthy. And who am I talking about? Of course, Tristan Wirfs. And who knew Luke Gedeke going into this year when everybody was ready to cut him already and call him a bust? Everybody's saying Luke Gedeke was a complete bust, a complete waste, all of that. And
I mean, let's face it. These guys are kids coming out of college. Some of them don't develop the same way. I mean, Gedeke, to his credit, he did not play very well his first rookie season, but he's not the first rookie to do so and won't be the last. But he stepped it up, and he's been a big difference as to why the offense is now starting to gel.
Luke Gedeke's been amazing. As the year started, everybody was like, oh no, Cody Mock sucks. Oh no, Cody Mock sucks. We heard the same thing again. Oh, he's a bust. Oh, he's a bust. Small school, Jason Light, overreach. Oh no. All of a sudden, Cody Mock is playing lights out football. Stinney is playing great football. Hainsey's even okay now. After a horrible
Let's not get crazy.
year. Well, after the beginning of the year, Hainsey didn't look so good. But, I mean, the offensive line is playing good football. And everything's coming around. Thank you, San Antogato, for the quote of the night. Thank you. Rome wasn't built in a day, Rick, but the Bucs are getting closer and closer. Dude, thank you. And that Rome wasn't built in a day. I got to remember that line. I got to remember that saying because oh my God, I've heard so much about just ripping Todd Bowles and his personality on the sidelines. He's not animated enough. Look at him, his face. Oh, blah. Shut up. I mean, we're 7-7. We're better than last year with Tom freaking Brady. We're improving. We're going in the right direction.
He had a lot of issues last year. Tom did.
Once again, Dave.
He was dealing with a lot.
Yeah, Dave. Once again, it's a good time to be a Bucs fan, isn't it?
Every day is a good day to be a Bucs fan.
Yeah.
Since 1976, it's been a good day to be a Bucs fan.
No, there have been some bad days.
But you're still a Bucs fan.
Yes, absolutely. But there have been some bad days. But these are good days. These are good times. Dave, you got any final words?
I'm excited for the rest of the season, and I'll admit I wasn't that way a few weeks ago. So go Bucs. I mean, let's enjoy it. It's a holiday season. Let's go take care of the Jaguars and then go clinch the division against the Saints. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right.
Get on the bake train. Let's go.
Go Bucs. Go Bucs. Go Bucs.
Merry Christmas.
We sucked today. I sucked today. We sucked today. It was awful.